Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be talking about what I think would have happened if Luke joined Darth Vader at the end of Empire Strikes Back. At the end of their fight, Vader stood looking at Luke, who was still quivering because of the loss of his hand. Vader reached out his hand saying, "I am your father." Luke, instead of crying out like he did originally, would sit pondering the fact that Obi-Wan lied to him. In that moment, he was actually thinking about his life as a Sith, or at least what his life would be like next to his father. Vader would continue just like he did in canon, saying, "Together, we can destroy the Emperor and rule the galaxy as father and son." Luke would pause for a moment, thinking about what other lies Obi-Wan may have told him. He would reach out and take his father's hand. He would ask Vader, "How?" Vader would say the Emperor's time will come, but first, we have another mission. After leaving Bespin, Leia, Lando, and Chewie, along with R2 and 3PO, would hope Luke was able to escape, but without knowing what happened to him, Leia would always be in a state of worry. Luke would take Vader to Dagobah, where Vader would confront his old friend and his old mentor, Yoda. "I see it is fear that you have given into, young Skywalker," Yoda would say. Vader would turn to Luke, explaining how the only way for him to truly join his father was to forever give up his training as a Jedi, and to strike down his old master, because only then would he be strong enough with the Force to become a full Sith apprentice, just like Darth Sidious instructed Vader to do all those years ago on Coruscant. Yoda would submit himself to Luke, just as Obi-Wan did to Vader. At that moment, Obi-Wan would reach out to Yoda through the Force. He would say, "The Jedi are finished." Yoda, remembering the feeling he received when Luke left Dagobah the first time to go confront Vader, would say, "No, remember Obi-Wan, there is another." After being able to submit himself fully to the dark side, Luke would travel with Vader to Coruscant to go confront Darth Sidious. Now, I know Vader doesn't stand a chance against Sidious alone, especially since his suit was specifically made to be the least effective against Sidious if they ever fought, and they fought a lot, but he wouldn't be alone. Even though Luke was nowhere near his full potential, him along with Vader would stand a chance versus Sidious. Vader would walk into Sidious's chambers alone, where he would ignite his lightsaber. He would scream out to Sidious how he took everything away from him. He took his life, and he took Padme, who was the only one Anakin truly loved. In this moment, Anakin slipped back into his body, still full of anger, before being quickly overtaken by Vader once again. Beginning to laugh, Sidious would shoot a powerful blast of Force lightning at Vader, yelling, "You are no match for the power in me, my apprentice." This is when Luke would dart into the room, blocking the Force lightning and holding off Sidious just for a moment, just long enough for Vader to strike at his master. Sidious would dodge Vader's wild attack, jumping toward Luke, knowing he was the weaker of the two. Vader would reach the two just in time to save Luke, and to send another attack towards Sidious. This time, he wouldn't miss, cutting both Sidious's hands off, similar to how Anakin defeated Dooku. After this, without even a thought of hesitation, Vader would strike down Sidious, knowing the danger he possesses, ending the Sith Lord's rule once and for all. After this, Vader paused. This is the first time in his life he was the ruler of all. He was finally free of his master's grip. He was the Emperor now. After gaining the power he so desperately looked after, he could finally be free of Sidious's shadow. Him and Luke would rule the galaxy with fear, and would begin their hunt for the rebellion that Luke was once part of. Now on the other side of the galaxy, Leia would continue to get visions of a mysterious woman as well as a man she didn't recognize. She had been getting them soon after leaving Bespin. One day, while on her ship beyond the galactic rim, Leia would see two bluish spirits, one being a species she had never seen before, and the other being a human she recognized as Obi-Wan Kenobi. The two would begin to explain to her that the two people she saw in her visions were her parents. They would quickly begin to teach her about her father and about the Force, because they knew they didn't have much time until Luke and Vader found them. After about a year, and with intense training both physically and spiritually, Leia was almost to the rank of Jedi Knight, or what one would consider Jedi Knight since the ranks don't really mean anything anymore. They would explain to her how Luke did not die in Bespin, which he had believed to this point, but he had joined their father Darth Vader. They would explain to her that in order to obtain the rank of Jedi Knight and to escape the fear of being Vader's daughter, she would need to do what Luke cannot, and confront and strike down Vader. Now she couldn't do this alone, so they began to look for other Force users throughout the galaxy who may be hiding out. Leia would travel to the planet Tython to sit on the Seeing Stone to attempt to reach out through the Force to any possible Jedi who may be listening. She knew this would be dangerous, with Luke and Vader possibly listening as well, but in order to beat the two, she needed to try. After reaching out and a few weeks passing, she was visited by a hooded figure. This figure was Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka would ask, "How do you know the ways of the Force?" before Obi-Wan and Yoda would appear. "How are you?" Obi-Wan would say, along with Yoda saying, "A long time it has been, Padawan Tano." After being acquainted, the pair of Jedi Masters would explain to Ahsoka who Leia was, and what happened to her brother and father, and the dangers they currently bring to the galaxy. After some time training together, Ahsoka and Leia would be visited by another Jedi, one who was much more experienced than either of them. This Jedi was Plo Koon, who even surprised Obi-Wan and Yoda, and especially Ahsoka, who cried out at the sight of her old master and the one who brought her to the Jedi Order in the first place. Okay, now, I know that he is dead, or presumed dead at least, on Caden and Moidia, but since it's a theory, it means I can use him, and please don't hate, I know I'm not the only one who wants him back too, alright? Now after the three trained together and after about a month while spending time on Tython, they would see an Imperial Star Destroyer. Obi-Wan would warn the others what they already know. It's them. A landing craft would land on the surface of the rocky terrain and would open up to Luke and Vader holding their red lightsabers. Since it's a little longer than a year after being deemed a full Sith apprentice, Luke is much more powerful. Still not to his full potential, but powerful nonetheless. Before rushing into anything, Obi-Wan and Yoda would explain to the three Jedi that the main goal is to have Leia strike down Vader, because only then can she become a Jedi Knight, and deal with the pain of being the daughter of the Sith Lord. Even though it was 3 versus 2, the fight was still a close one. Both sides would exchange blows to the other, while at one point it was Ahsoka and Plo Koon teaming up against Vader, and Leia and Luke having a showdown themselves. While fighting her now-turned brother, Leia would yell at Luke, screaming, "You were blinded by the power you were offered. You let it consume you, but what now? You were a servant to our father. One day he will push you aside just like he did his master." Luke did not believe Leia, and would respond saying, "I deserve the power. It is my birthright and it belongs to me." The two would continue exchanging blows until Luke would start to get wild with his attacks. Leia used this to her advantage, using all of her strength to force push Luke into a nearby boulder, knocking him unconscious. She would then turn to Vader and Ahsoka, who were facing off, after Vader gave a crushing force choke, then a cut into Plo Koon with his lightsaber. However, the once Jedi Master was still alive, but was still unable to fight. Leia and Ahsoka joined together to fight Vader, who even though was more powerful than them, did not have the same endurance they did. After a long battle, which included Ahsoka losing one of her lightsabers, the two forced Vader to his knees. Ahsoka cried out to Vader saying, "I thought there would be a chance for you, Anakin, but now I see I was wrong." After saying this, Ahsoka looked at Vader, who had his mask ripped off during the fight. The yellow Sith eyes faded as Anakin's blue ones appeared. Without saying anything, Anakin looked at Ahsoka with a look of shamefulness. He then turned to Leia, and with a sound of sadness in his voice, as well as acceptance, he said, "Tell Luke there is still time for him to choose the right path. Now, do what you must. Destroy me and rid the galaxy of my grip." With tears in her eyes, Leia ignited her lightsaber and struck down her father. Looking on, Luke cried out acknowledging what he had done, knowing the crimes he had committed. Obviously, Luke would not be forgiven right away, but just like he did to his father in canon, Leia would look at him with joy at the return of her brother. Years later, with the Sith and Empire gone, Luke, Leia, and Ahsoka would start their new Jedi Order, with the Grand Master being Grand Master Plo Koon. Now Ahsoka still had her own mission to accomplish, with finding Grand Admiral Thrawn and her friend Ezra. But for the others, this is where I stop their journey. Thank you everyone for watching. If you like this video, leave a like. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. Have a good rest of your day, and may the Force be with you.